Hi, this is Rod. Thanks for dropping by. Excuse my throat. Just finished off my Easter chocolate. Feel sick. Now I know why I don't have chocolate in the house normally. Anyway, it's done. What's he up to, I hear you ask? Today this is for tomorrow's video, so whatever it is today, done everything on the 8th, probably Friday. I do get my days in a muddle. This video is being recorded today for tomorrow, because tomorrow I've got a lot to do and I don't want to film. So this will be posted tomorrow, which when you see it will be today. Are you following this? Right, what I'm up to is the plants to go. I was going to film the plants and talk about them as I went and who's having what and this, that and the other, and then I thought it's going to take so long and I'm going to have to move half the plants in the grow room to get at those plants, to then have to put them somewhere and then put it all back again. So I just sort of went, that's not happening. So we're going to do it this way. So what we should be able to do is switch across to my spreadsheet that I've made, and hopefully that's big enough for you to see, but I'll be talking through it anyway. So this is basically the list of plants at the top are plants that nobody's actually asked for yet. So these are still available. They will end up either in the bin or on Mix Masdavalia's website for sale if nothing happens to them in the relatively near future. What I will say is that the people down below that I'll talk about in a minute that have already said they want some plants, if you add in any of these plants at the top, you can have them for next to nothing, because it's still only one box from my point of view. You see what I mean? One box with more plants in is easier than lots of individual plants in a single box, which I don't want to do. You know, if you have a look at that list at the top, that's a lot of boxes, a lot of trips to Postman Pat. So I'd rather not do that. So let's go down through them. There's Brassolalia Golden Mule Orient. That was one of Jeff's plants. It's okay as a plant. It will grow on and it is blooming size. It's the typical looking Brassavola type plant. Yeah, that type of look to it. The Dendrobium Lucky Girl crossed with Kurenai Petite is a mounted nobly type orchid. It very attractive flowers. It's not a huge plant and it's not going to grow huge. So as noblies go, it's just a medium-sized plant. And it's going to stay that size. It will bush up, but it won't get tall. And it's currently mounted. And as a bonus, there are actually two different plants on that mount, because we have had two different types of flowers. Which bit's which, I can't remember, but there's actually two different plants on there. What the other one's called, I haven't got a clue. The Dendrobium Tie Angel is a division of a Phalaenopsis type dendrobium. Beautiful blooms, and it may well bloom on the next new growth it produces. The Dendrobium Farmeri crossed with Griffithianum is a mature plant. It has bloomed many times over the years, sometimes 2 or 3 spikes at the same time. They are pendulous spikes with many blooms on. Absolutely stunning. They grow so fast that you can almost see them grow once those spikes start. They're not there. The next day they're a couple of inches long, and then you turn your back and they're 6 inches long. They grow incredibly fast. Not long lived, but quite a spectacle when they happen. That's a plant that had a problem with the leaves. It had a fungus on the leaves. It's been treated and cured a while back, and the latest couple of new growths are clean. Eventually those old leaves with the markings on them will fall. It will eventually become deciduous, and all the new growths from now on I'm sure are going to be fine. The Bugariara is an unnamed Nelliela. It may be one of the originals. It's not a good plant. It's not much more than a backbulb division. I wouldn't expect anybody to pay money for that. It's not a good enough plant. There's not enough there. So if anybody wants it to try and grow it on that's already ordered a plant, I'm quite happy to chuck it in the box for nothing. But I'm not boxing it up and sending it to someone for nothing. Give us a break already. Right, the Odontoglossum naeviem, one of my most attractive blooms for an Odontoglossum type. This is my original plant. Started to go downhill, it's been repotted and it is recovering. It is blooming size. New growths that are produced on it from now on should bloom, and they are very attractive blooms. White, red spotted with curly sepals and petals, very attractive. There's still an Oncidium Twinkle Red Fantasy, the other one of those to go. Again, these are not the sort of plants I would want somebody to buy, so anybody that's got a list of plants down below that we'll get to in the middle, if you want to try growing that on, I'll throw it in the box. That's a freebie. The Oncostelli Catatanti, come on brain, get in gear. I've got a feeling I've named that wrong, Catatanti. No, I haven't. That's all right, brain. Come on. This is not a good plant. It hasn't grown well for several years. In my mind, I'm reluctant to sell it because it's not right. But if somebody wants a go at trying to get it to grow and grow it on, it's producing new growths with some roots, but they're grossly undersized and it hasn't bloomed for a long time. So there's a fundamental problem with the plant. I'd be happy to chuck it in the box for nothing for any of the others down below. Right, then the two remaining Paphiopedilums, there's the Mordii. Each new growth has bloomed for me over quite a long period of time, but I only ever get one new growth at a time. I don't grow paths very well, quite honestly. Don't really know why, and after they're gone, I won't care. So that's the Mordii. It's common as muck. You can pick those up you'll even find them in the odd garden centre now and again. It is one of the most popular paths. It's a lovely simple bloom. It's a good shape, it's a good size, and it's just two colours, green and white. And they do look really nice. They are nice blooms and lovely patterns on the leaves too. It has an old growth that's starting to fade now. The new growth is relatively young and it's pushing on. Could probably do with a repot and a smaller pot. The Paphiopedilum tonsum was one of Hannah's. It's going now. I've had it quite a long time. It has got at least one root. It might have two, but it's not exactly got a pot full of roots. It is a miniature Paphiopedilum. The blooms are gorgeous. It was on a trip to Burnham's that Hannah saw that and said, you know, that was at the time she was trying to grow some orchids in her flat, and at that time we didn't know it wasn't going to work. We also didn't know she had major heart surgery coming up and was going to be away in hospital, which is when I inherited all her plants. But by the time I got them, they'd been totally neglected for some time. I think Hannah had other things on her mind, understandably so. So when I inherited it, it had no roots and it took a while to even start to recover. So that's what's left. As I said, anybody that's already got a box coming to them, has ordered stuff already, you can add those in at next to no cost, in some cases even free. Right, now the next bit is verification. Have I got this right? And it's important. So the people involved, listen carefully, I shall say this only once. Sean Burns, now this is a good one because this is a box full with some pretty large stuff and I'm delivering it. I'm over the moon because I would not post that. I would not get that lot in a box. So Sean has agreed to meet me somewhere. Now if it's just delivering the plants, then I would go out about as far as Bridport, give me a ride out sort of thing. However, Sean lives out Axminster Honiton way. If I was going to Burnham's, I'll be driving along the main road past Axminster and Honiton. Yeah? So there's got to be a place to meet somewhere that'll be very close, and it would save Sean travelling any distance. There's a big biker-looking chap just walked up the garden path, but he's just delivering leaflets. I thought, oh God, now what? Sorry, distraction. Yeah, so Sean, I don't seem to have an email from you, so you need to get the email address off of the description, off of any video. It's on all of them. Send me an email so that I've got you and, you know, can actually send emails. That way we've got a communication path apart from comments on videos, which is not ideal. So if you could send me an email, that would be wonderful. If you've already done it, sorry I've got it wrong, I can't find it, could you send it again? Or send me another one? That way we're in contact. Now, I will be going to Burnham's in the not too distant future, but it will be a weekday. They're only open weekdays, and it will be relatively early AM. They don't open till 10, but by the time I get down Axminster way, I'm well on my way to Burnham's from where I've got to start. That's 2/3 of the journey already done. So it would be relatively early in the morning, but I'm not on about crack of dawn. I'm on about, like, you know, 9 o'clock, 9:30, something like that. Otherwise we'll have to make other arrangements. And your plants are the Coleogyne cristata, which is the variety Lemoniana, with spikes on, so you should get blooms in the not too distant future. The great big bowlful of Bulbophyllum Elizabeth Ann Buckleberry. That will free up half a shelf. I'm looking forward to that. The Oncidium Twinkle, the yellow one, so that's yours, and the Arangus Mysticidii, which is the young plant to grow on. That's probably a couple of years away from blooming size, but it depends. Arangus are strange. They can bloom at a young age if their conditions are just right and they're really happy. So that's that one. And remember that Arangus Mysticidii, out of the Arangus, is a higher light than the others. That likes sort of medium bright light. Don't roast it. Right, so that's Sean done. Right. Carlo Sykes. Yeah, you have to bear in mind this has been done in a hurry. If your name's Carol, I do apologise and I'll fix it. I'm not going to go and look at the emails now because it shows personal details. So if your name's spelt wrong, I'll fix it, don't worry, and I do apologise. Right, good box full for you. You've got the Dendrobium Lovely Virgin Angel, beautiful flowers on that, and it should bloom possibly on the cane it's got or on the next one. It's been recovering. It's now recovered and growing well and has roots and nice canes. It's a nobly type that doesn't grow huge, so it's another medium-sized nobly type. One of the yellow Miltoniopsis, that's yours. And you also asked if you could have the tiny little seedling. It's not actually a seedling, it was just like a single back bulb that wasn't very big and broke off, and it's grown a new growth, but it is tiny. You know, it's a fair way away from blooming size. It's to grow on, basically. And Oncidium sotoanum, again, my sotoanum went down, it got split into two, and they're recovering nicely now. Both of them are starting to put out roots, and they're growing okay, so they're well on the mend. The Paphiopedilum delenatii variety Vinicolor, I'm not absolutely certain that will survive. If it gets the proper care and media that it needs, whatever that might be, because I'm no good at those, it may well pull on. It has got at least one root in the pot. It's in a tiny little pot and it is growing a new leaf. But it's not a happy bunny, but, you know, somebody who can grow paths may well pull that one on. Blooms are gorgeous. Again, that was one of Hannah's that she couldn't look after. So that's, I'm sure that's supposed to be Carol. That's Carol done. Sorry about that. Richard McLean. All right, your box full. You've got the little Dendrobium Victoria Regina, which is a young plant. It's got a single old cane, leafless cane, and a single cane that is growing. It's still actively growing. It's still got a growing tip, so it is still lengthening, but it is a young plant. I would say a few years off of blooming size, so it's one to grow on and is mounted. Where else are we? Miltonia Castanier. That's the one I was getting muddled up with the flipping thing earlier, the Catatanti. Duh, come on, brain. Yes, that's a primary cross Miltonia. It is mounted. It's a division, and it has a couple of new growths and some new roots growing. And it's been positioned on the mount in such a way that it should be able to stay there a while, because this one is a bit of a rambler. The gaps on the between the bulbs, the rhizomes, they're not tightly packed. That's a polite version. They do stretch a bit, though it does like to get away from itself. You're the one that got in first and got the dark coloured Miltoniopsis. Again, it's not a brilliant plant. It'll need real care. You know, it hasn't long been repotted, so it's in a pot that it can stay in, but there's hardly any roots on it. It needs to be kept out of bright light. It needs good humidity. It needs some TLC. And if it ever grows on and you get it to bloom, you're in for a bit of a stunner. That is quite a bloom, that one. And you get the Alicera Tahitian Dancer once I've broken it in two. Now, I might have to take the risk with this because I want these boxes out of the flipping way. Basically, the Tahitian Dancer needs dividing, needs coming out of its pot, repotting and dividing into two, and half of it will be what's going to Richard. The problem I've got is it's not actually growing its new growths yet. So if I divide it sort of now in the near future, I'm taking a risk that it can survive okay on its existing root system. And for a Oncidium intergeneric type, it has an incredibly fine root system, which can easily, it's a bit like the what was the one, the Sotoanum, you know, for such a size plant in the Oncidium alliance or whatever, it's very fine roots. It's unusual from that point of view, and it's probably because it's got a lot of Sotoanum in it. I just remembered that. But anyway, I'll take the risk and split it and get it repotted, or you can have it bare rooted if you want. It's not going to make, I doubt if it will make any difference to the postage. You haven't got a lot of weight in this post. You've got a small mount, and then you've got another mount, which is cork. It doesn't weigh much. The Miltoniopsis is in a normal pot, but again, I think there's a large percentage of the coconut husk in there. It's not going to be heavy. And then the Tahitian Dancer would be in, given that it's in a pot probably about 7 or 8 inches across at the moment. Once it's split in half, being an Oncidium type, it will go in the smallest pot I can cram it in. So again, it won't be a big pot. But you do get an option to get that one bare rooted if you want to do it yourself. And then Milan, you've got the one of the yellow Miltoniopsis, and you've got the Lowii. We'll sort that out in the not too distant future, because those can go. I'm just waiting for weather really, so no problems there. Loana, now I've got a possible local delivery here. This is somebody who can, as they what do they call it, a locum or something, like somebody who goes around doing things in various places. Doesn't have a fixed abode, if you know what I mean, as far as a job's concerned. And it is remotely possible they might be able to get to Christchurch in my area and pick the plants up, which will be handy because the Brassia vericosa is in a reasonable sized pot and is a reasonable sized plant. The Oncidium Twinkle Red Fantasy goes free in the box basically. I'm not charging money for that when somebody's buying a plant already. They're not good enough, you know, they are struggling to grow on, but they all have new growth starting, so I've made a start. It's up to somebody else to carry on. So that's that one. Zana is having the Ancelia africana, but it's not wanted mounted. Now luckily, although that's been on the mount since I got it, it hasn't actually attached to any great extent, so it'll just lift off. I won't be damaging all the roots by taking it off the mount, so I'm happy to do that. That will lighten the box considerably as well, and might even get it in a smaller box. That's on a really large mount because I was told that they grow into large plants. Well, mine hasn't yet. Mine hasn't really come into growth since I got it. So hopefully it will, now that the growing season started, it should do. Right, Andrea is having the Cattleya Genmanii, single plant there. So, you know, the last two people are single plants. If there's anything up on that top list that I've mentioned, you know, have a think about throwing them in the box. They won't put your price up much. Trust me. But yeah, so that's that one. It's on a reasonable size mount, and it is quite a strappy plant. So it's actually going to take a reasonable size box to get that boxed up, which is a nuisance, but that's how it goes. But what I'm implying is it's already got to have a reasonable size box to get it in, so tucking a few others in won't be a big deal. And then Julie Smart's having the Coleogyne Moriana, which is a large pot and a large plant. And also we negotiated that the Dendrobium anosmum Kiki that I've got on a mount, it's just a single cane with a new growth starting, that goes in the box as well. So I've made a note there, or I shall forget that, because that plant isn't on my list. It's not that was an arrangement we came to. So that's it. These are the people. Now what I suggest all of you do is now send me a brand new email. Oh no, it'll just tag on the end, won't it? It's Google Gmail, isn't it? Rats. What I was after was a clean, shiny new email with your address details on for those people that are having stuff posted. You know, I need to know what Postman Pat needs to put on the box. So full mailing details, please, unless you are having your plant delivered. In which case separate arrangements will be made. So I need an email, no elaborations, no big essays, no big loads of paragraphs and stuff, just a simple email that comes in under your name with your postal details. In other words, what I need to put on the label on the box. Short and sweet, don't go mad. In addition, anything that I've shown that you disagree with. Oh, hang on, I've missed some off. Have I? No, I haven't. No, I just scrolled up, didn't I? Anything that I've got wrong, like I've said you're having a plant that you didn't choose, or anything like that, yeah, get an email off to me and say, you know, what the problem is. I've been reasonably careful. If I've lost anybody's email or got something dramatically wrong, I'll apologise, but it's almost on the lines of tough. This is my time I'm using up here to sort this out. I know I'm clearing some space out, but for those people who I've discussed the prices with, you obviously know I'm not making money on this. Practically giving stuff away, which is my way. You know, I don't try and make money out of my plants. Never have done. So there we go. Again, that's the list up the top there. If you're watching this, it's a video. You can pause it and take notes or whatever. You can jump in on any of those as quickly as you like, because this will close off in the not too distant future. And like I said, anybody that's already got a box on the go, I've started a box, you can add stuff in at next to no cost, because I need this stuff gone. Okay, so if you fancy any of that stuff on that top list, it'll go in the box at next to no cost. And in a couple of cases it's probably going to go in free. But you need to tell me that you're happy to have those plants in your box, if you see what I mean. I'm not just chucking stuff in willy-nilly. Okay, so make sure I've got Milan, you don't need to worry, I've got all your details. But everybody else, I need an email with Postman Pat address details, full address with postcode and all that sort of stuff. And the next thing I need to discuss might actually bail some of you people out. I did say at the beginning I can only post to the UK. Now if that didn't sink in and any of you people have not got a UK address, you need to let me know as soon as possible, because I won't be able to send you your plants. It is UK only and not Northern Ireland. There are border controls between the mainland and Northern Ireland. No comment because it's political. But at the end of the day, I can't do Northern Ireland. I can only do mainland UK. Yeah, so England, Scotland, and Wales. Outside of that, I can't do. And in addition to that, several people have offered payment already when I don't even know what the bill's going to be yet. Those that are having stuff posted, I won't know how much you owe me until I find out what the postage is. And I'm quite happy to wait until it's posted to actually get the payment, if you see what I mean. But, and this is a big but, and you need to listen carefully. I'm only going to say this once as well. Actually, I'll probably say it 4 times. I take payments by PayPal. You need a PayPal account to be able to pay me. Once we get to that stage, I will give you the details of my PayPal account so that you can make the payment. I'll say it now, I'll probably say it several times. When you make a PayPal payment for something like this, make sure you send the money to a friend. Don't buy something, because it puts a bill out. It starts doing invoicing and putting charges up. We don't want any of that nonsense. You're just sending the money to a friend type payment, yeah? You'll see the difference when you get in there. It should be reasonably obvious. And I'm sure those that have got PayPal accounts have done that sort of thing before, you know, for family birthdays and stuff. Here is some money, like we do. But you need to make that payment in that way. I've had several payments in the past that have come in, and PayPal starts generating invoices and wants to know what the postage charges are, and it starts making a fuss. And to get round that, you just make a payment to a friend, yeah, or that along those lines. Anyway, I'll double check that. But anyway, so those are the details. Those are the plants. That's what's going on. Make sure the people that are in this lower list, that's Sean, Carol, Richard, as I say, Milan I'm okay with already, Loana, Zana and Andrea. If you're not having your plant delivered, I need your full postal details, and I would like you to confirm that I've got it right and your list of plants is correct. And while you're at it, if you want any off that top list there, let me know. And again, it will be first come, first served. But the amount of money you will need to add on for these is negligible. Sort of cup of coffee cost, or maybe less. I don't buy coffee outside anymore. I don't like the sound of the price. Anyway, that's it. I'll leave it for now. As I said, I was going to film all this, but can you imagine trying to get all those plants out and in their bundles? And and film them all, and then all the plants that I've had to move, I've got to put somewhere, and no, there was a bother factor, and I can't be. So there we go. And the guy who owns the National Dendrobium collection, Marius, he's been in touch to say that he's coming this way in a not too distant future with any luck, and can stop outside the house, and I can offload all these large dendrobiums into his vehicle and get them out of my way. So that'll be good. And then with this lot all sorted as well, I can start spreading things out, and then take a trip to Burnham's and buy thousands of new plants. Like that's going to happen. See you next time. Thanks for dropping by. Take care of the important bits I've said. Check your list of plants, make sure they're okay. Make sure you've got a PayPal account or somebody who will make the payment for you. I've had that done in the past, but it needs to be PayPal. And make sure you have a UK address, mainland UK only. Sorry, Northern Ireland, but in my book you shouldn't even exist. It should just be Ireland. Anyway, so that's that, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.